Welcome to Midwest Whitetail, the Heartland show. It's pretty crazy to think, but we're already a couple days away from season kicking off here in Iowa. And as you can see from my attire, this isn't the typical end of September weather that we're dealing with. We got low 50 temperatures, and we're actually going to have our first cold front in October, the first weekend that deer season's open here in Iowa. So I'm anxious to get in the tree this week, and although I'm probably not going to be targeting any specific bucks this weekend, probably trying to get a lot of those doe tags filled early this season. We're out here just getting a few projects done before the season kicks off. And one of the things I'm really anxious to look at tonight is that I just pulled the card off my Cuddy Link system, and I'm really hoping that the buck I call Vader shows up. The last 2 years he showed up the beginning of October, and I'm hoping he follows suit again. That's a buck I had several encounters with last year, and he's definitely at the top of my hit list. As I just mentioned, I'm anxiously waiting to see if Vader's going to show up on camera tonight. But one of the things I tried to do this off season is make this farm even more huntable than what it has been in the past. And as you can see over my shoulder, I actually put some sorghum on this farm. I've never really had a late season food source that I've been able to hunt on this farm. I was able to have a friend come out here and drill some sorghum on 3 separate plots. And I really think that that's going to set me up really well for hunting late season this year. As soon as those heads of the sorghum plants start to get doughy, the deer are really going to start hitting that late season. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for maybe me to get my hands on one of these hit list bucks going to be chasing this year. Well, this will probably be my final update before the season finally kicks off. I'm really excited to share, any encounters I do have this year, and I appreciate everyone watching the Heartland show here on Midwest Whitetail. And anything that I do get on my cameras tonight, I'll be sure to share that with you as well.
Chris Dussold here in Illinois on the Heartland show, and we're about a week away from our opener here. No real targets yet on the Cuddy Link system, so we won't go out until we have something worth hunting. We're hoping that some of our targets from last year make it back to the farm. We have Droppy, we have McTrashy. On this side of the farm in particular, we're right in the center of Droppy's area. This redneck blind behind us is where we had most of our encounters. So we're going to hope for the same thing this year. The one big thing that has changed is we have several redneck blinds on trailers that we can move and be a little more mobile. But this has been a successful blind. This is where we killed a really nice one a couple years ago. Footage wasn't very good, but we killed a really nice one. Matter of fact, he was standing right about where the camera is right now, and when the Hoyt did its job and took him down. So that was the big 9. I wanted to talk a little bit about this farm. Now that Bill sold his Iowa farm, this is very similar size. I started putting this farm together about 18 years ago, similar to Bill with his southern Iowa farm, and tried a lot of the same management practices. It really is just management. We farm it, and we have cattle, etc., but we really do try to manage it for deer and turkeys. So we're going to try to tell you the story of our continued management practices on this ground. Again, similar size to what Bill had, and but again, really in multiple sections. It's really partitioned off between creek and hedgerows and different types of fields, hay fields, food plots, soybeans, corn, pasture. It hunts a whole lot bigger than it is. Hunts even bigger than it is. So the other interesting thing about this year is we will have leased property about 2 miles from here. So we'll be telling the story, hopefully, of some decent deer that we can chase over there. Another nice thing about those mobile redneck blinds is to be able to move those around, especially on a piece of property that we don't know very well and that we're trying to figure out. So that'll be an interesting piece of the story this year. But again, we're not going to be out in a stand until we have a good target to go after. But we're just tightening up a few little things around the farm, getting ready for the season, because again, as soon as a decent deer shows up, as soon as whether it be one of our 2 shooters from last year that made it through, or whether it be a new one, and every year there's always 1 or 2 new mature deer. Droppy was a newbie. McTrashy, second year. This is his second year, but sometimes that's how it works. You like to tell a good story of 1 or 2 or 3 really good deer, especially on a farm this size. But sometimes they, for whatever reason, they don't come back. Hit by a car. We usually have them through shed season, but whether they're hit by a car or they just move their territory just a little bit over. Who knows? But we are keeping our fingers crossed for Droppy and for McTrashy.
Well, welcome back to Midwest Whitetail. It's getting to be late September. Usually we have a lot of this stuff done by now, or we did have it done, but as you can see, when derecho came through a few weeks ago, we had some serious damage and stuff, so fixing a few things on the farm today. Obviously this stand's not going to work anymore, so we're going to buzz off the what's salvageable here, grab the lifelines and the hanging stand and stuff like that, and then going to just kind of do last minute stand check preps. I got to move a couple blinds today and a couple other things, and hopefully put up the finishing touches here before we get ready for season here real shortly. So come join us today, and we'll have some action here soon. Putting up some finishing touches. Going to do something kind of crazy this year. Going to be a lot more aggressive than we normally would. This is a spot I call the Y field, kind of smack dab in the center of my farm. Last couple years, the buck I call Francium, who's a 6.5-year-old buck this year, has come out exactly on either October 5th or October 6th, the same night, right here behind me in daylight. So, you know, there's a lot of different theories out there. The deer will do the same thing year after year. He did it as a 4-year-old, he did it as a 5-year-old, he's a 6-year-old this year. We got crazy aggressive. Usually I'm about 80 to 90 yards further to the north here with this blind, but we moved the blind up right to where he likes to come in and out of this corner early season. Also got a little funnel through here with some shrubs and stuff. So what we'll do, we'll leave this blind here for the first couple weeks of the season, hopefully get the right wind, hunt it a couple times, then move it back to our normal spot and probably cut some corn and stuff and get ready for you know, the later part of October, the rut type setup. So we'll see what happens. Kind of a crazy idea, I guess, that I've got, but you never know if it pays off and I shoot him October 5th, October 6th, and you know, look like the smartest guy in the world. But if it doesn't work out, then you know, we won't talk about it. So thanks again for watching Midwest Whitetail, the Heartland, and hopefully we're bringing you some more action here pretty soon. All right, well, I snuck out here today, got on the farm and did some last minute preparations. Later in the season than I'd normally like to do it. Got pretty aggressive, mostly just because this year has been a tough one for me. Had some family stuff going on, haven't spent as much time doing my normal yearly prep as I would like to, but it is what it is, and as you can maybe tell, it's really windy right now, so we're getting away with getting in. Did a little bit of trimming into one of my favorite sets on the farm I call the Interstate. Right behind me, if you recognize this spot, is where I had a buck Arthur and Baby 10 step out last year. Ended up killing Baby 10 the last night of the season last year with like 5 minutes of legal shooting time left. So definitely a set that I'm going to be looking to, you know, maybe get a shot at Arthur this year. He should be a 5-year-old deer. Also got a couple other really nice bucks. I've got a deer I call Francium, who I filmed a couple years ago. He's kind of in a different part of the farm, but you know, not really that far away from here either. So could be some issues with those bucks bumping each other around. We'll see what happens. And then I've also got, I think Francium's 6.5 this year, based on what I have for trail cameras and history with him. And then I have another deer called Spike Lee, he's really not gonna be a particularly high scoring buck, but he's just a cool deer. I've got a lot of history with him. Probably the only deer that I can ever recall that I've got, you know, trail camera pictures all the way from 1.5 years, and now I think he's 6.5 this year. I got a couple of his sheds, and you know, just he's had an injury since he was a young buck. He holds his one foot up kind of strange, his leg, and you can clearly tell it's the same deer every year. So it's really cool to have history with some deer like that on the farm. And looking forward to the season. I'm going to be kind of limited. Again, I got a couple family things going on with farming, and then this year, 2020 COVID stuff, my job's been extremely demanding the last few months. So you know, I don't know how much that's going to equate into hunting time for me this year, but I'm certainly going to get out as much as I can and look forward to, you know, to talking to you guys this season and seeing how everybody else is doing, and welcome you to the, you know, the 2020 season for Midwest Whitetail Heartland Show.